Nicole Jones here. There is so much mystery surrounding what happens when we die. Both religion and science fail to tell us the truth. And many people have a very extreme fear of dying. What is it like? What happens when we die? Does it just go black and we cease to exist? Does it hurt? Is there an afterlife? There's so many questions that we have about death, and there's not very many answers out there. Well, we actually know exactly what happens when we die, but it's hidden from society to keep us in that fear. Death is actually not scary at all once you know what really happens. So let's back up a little bit so you know what my background is and how I got to this truth. I started out young, fascinated in the death process. Not like a morbid fascination. I would just read the true crime books. You know which ones I'm talking about, right? Like, who killed who? And why'd they do it? Was it Mr. Mustard? Did he have the candlestick in the library? You know, those kind of books. And then, as I grew up, my curiosity grew too. So I decided to major in forensic science. I wanted to know, why did people kill other people? What happens when you die? What's the anatomy of death? What physically happens to us? Where is our consciousness? Is there an afterlife? Where do we go to? All of these things I wanted answered. I did tons of research and read tons of books, and I came to the conclusion that there has to be an afterlife. One of the best books that I read, if you are interested on the subject, is called Stiff by Mary Roach. Phenomenal, phenomenal book. And you will be convinced by the end of it that we exist after death. So during my last year of college, I started working for the coroner's office. I would go to crime scenes and pick up cadavers, or people that have passed, and then do autopsies on them. I learned a lot about the anatomy of death and what happens, but it didn't answer all of my questions, because what happens when we die, right? Like, it still didn't answer the question, where do we go? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? I have no idea. And I didn't grow up very religious. It didn't resonate with me. I didn't believe in heaven or in hell because, well, where were they, right? So let's fast forward my life a little bit. And I was introduced to quantum healing hypnosis technique. And this answered all of my questions, every single one of them. All the questions that science didn't answer, all the questions that religion didn't answer. And I'll tell you why. So basically, in a nutshell, this is a hypnosis technique allowing the practitioner to take you to a previous life or any other moment in time-space. You get to relive important days and then go through the death process, see what happens after you die, and then you get to go where you go in between lives. You get to meet your higher self, your spirit guides, and any other ancestors that have passed that want to connect with you. If you want more information about what Beyond Quantum Healing is, you can check out my video. It's on my page. It's called What is Beyond Quantum Healing? And that'll get into detail a little bit about more of that process. But for this video, I want to tell you what people experience in their sessions. Now, the information I'm about to share with you is not just from my personal sessions or experiences. This is from every practitioner around the world doing this, as well as those people who have had near-death experiences. Everybody seems to experience the same thing. Every single person recalls the same experience, and that's compelling to me. So I wanted to share it with you so you can dissolve some of your fears around the death process and dying. And you can see a little bit about what the afterlife is really like. So first thing that people experience when they take their last breath is this overwhelming love, like absolute bliss. Whatever pain they were in immediately stops. They experience a bright light, like the light at the end of the tunnel, and this releasing feeling, kind of like the cord tethering you to your physical body is just cut. You can still hear, you can still see, and you can still feel everything around you. You're still in the same place you were before. You're just not in a physical body. Like, for instance, if you were in a hospital bed and you had passed away and your family was around you, you would still hear everything they're saying. And you could even hear the thoughts that they're thinking. But you're not in your physical body anymore. You're seeing it from above. And there's this really cool video that I'll link below. And it's from a gentleman who had a near-death experience. And he recounts the same thing that I'm telling you right now, but from his own eyes. And it's really fascinating because it correlates directly with everything else that I have seen and heard. And so I will link that video below so you can go and watch that when you're done with this video. So you can see everything that's around you, you can hear everything, right? Because now you are in your astral body or etheric body. This body is not in the frequency of the visible light range, so we cannot see it with our naked eye. But some people who can see energy see it as an aura or energy body. This body fuses with our physical body when we're alive. But after we die, then it detaches and you are free to go roam wherever without your physical body. Now, what's connecting your physical body with this etheric body is this little white light. This little ball of energy is what some people call the God spark. I like to call it your creator spark. This is your consciousness. This is everything that makes you, you. And everything that's alive has this little spark of energy, this little white light inside their heart. Every plant, every animal, every being, everything has this little white light. And together, all of these little white lights create God or creator or source. Some people like to call it the great central sun. You can call it whatever you like as long as you know it's not the same God that religion has given us. It's completely different. It is complete love. That's what it is, complete love. But I'll explain the difference in God and creator source in a different video another time. So after you detach from your physical body, you start floating up. And as you look around, you might see your spirit guides or ancestors that have passed that have come to greet you. Some people can't accept the fact that they have died, and they don't want to move on. They want to stay exactly where they're at. And then they kind of just get lost in the fourth dimension. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. So once you see your spirit guides, they will embrace you and console you if you just had a traumatic experience. You'll chit-chat and catch up with them, and then you'll follow them to what some people refer to as heaven. It's an etheric place, not a physical place, so you can't see it with your naked eye. But it very much exists. From what I can gather, it is absolutely gorgeous. Once you go there, you will be guided into a little room. And this is your life review. You will quickly replay and recount every memory that you had in that incarnation, paying close attention to how you made others feel. every time you hurt somebody's feelings, you will replay that memory from the other person's eyes, feeling everything that they felt. You are the only one that judges yourself, but you are also your worst critic. After that, you will talk with your guides and your higher self about what your accomplishments were and what you could have done better. You went into this life with goals and missions, so you will also talk about if you were successful with those missions or if you were not so successful. And then when that's all done, you will go back to your home. This is where you live in between lives. This is your real home. You have friends and family there. I've been told that music fills the air, and the flowers there are not even comparable to the flowers here on earth. And everybody loves each other. There's no anger, there's no hate, there's no fear. It's just all fun and games, and you just live in bliss. There's also no time, which is for a whole different video. But then after you live like this and you heal from your previous life and you get back to feeling great and energetic, then you decide that you're bored. You're like, man, this is too perfect, right? Because you never get anywhere without problems. You never learn anything without making a mistake. You can never ascend without having that experience. You want to ascend, but the only way to ascend to a higher dimension is by having that knowledge and experience. So you decide, I'm going to do it again. And you decide to reincarnate back on Earth. So then you go back to that room, that small little room you had your life review. But this time it's the plan for your next life. You decide what challenges you're going to have, what struggles you're going to endure. You decide if you're going to have any sickness, disease, cancer. You pick your parents and your family members. You pick them so either they can teach you something or you can teach them something. It's actually a really cool process to experience someone picking their parents. And it kind of brings a whole new meaning to your relationship with your mom and dad, right? Because if you look on it, now you know that there's a reason that they're your parents. Whether it's for you to teach them something or for them to teach you something. And then you decide what your mission is. What is your purpose for this life? What are you here to do? I know you're probably thinking like, why would I want to forget my purpose? What's the point in that? Well, Earth is like a school of sorts. We come here for the experience. It's one of the hardest planets by far. There's no other place that you can experience duality like we have here on Earth. You wouldn't be able to learn as much each incarnation if you knew why you were here. It's like taking a test and the teacher giving you the answer key with the test. What's the point in that? You don't learn anything. So we choose to forget everything when we come into this body. Most people have incarnated hundreds, even thousands of times here on Earth. And once you decide that you've learned everything that you want to learn, or that you've wiped your karma slate clean, then you can move on to another planet. Maybe you decide you want to go to the Pleiades, or Sirius, or maybe you want to come back to Earth. The decision is all up to you. But one thing is certain, the universe is not what you think it is. We have been programmed since birth to believe that the universe is this certain way, and it is anything but that certain way. It took me 30 years of hard research to find out what reality is really like. The science that we are taught is only half of the equation. And religion is not helping us grow spiritually, but it's sort of this control mechanism to keep people from doing bad things in fear of going to hell, which doesn't really exist, because there is no hell. There is a fourth dimension, which is where heaven exists, and there are lower octaves, you could say, of that fourth dimension where lower vibrational entities reside. And that is what you could call hell, because there's some pretty nasty entities that reside in the lower octaves of the fourth dimension. But they are also existing right here. The fourth dimension and the third dimension are overlapped. So hell is right here. And that's where we come in to talking about those people who have passed but haven't accepted that they have passed. That's what some people call as ghosts. They're just stuck in the fourth dimension, lost, and don't know where to go. This happens quite often and is very sad, actually. Because we live in a quantum universe, and everything is made up of energy, if you die and decide to stick around, you lose your physical body, which is your energy source. So now you need to survive with some sort of energy source, right? So then you have to attach to an energy source. This is where people get entity attachments of sorts. This will be a person that has passed away that has attached to another person who's alive their energy body, and they're kind of like vampires, but of energy. But you can only attach to somebody that's of a lower vibration, somebody that's in fear or anger or depressed, somebody that's not feeling love. When you don't feel love or you're afraid, it kind of leaves you vulnerable to these entities to attach to you and drain your energy even more. Now, I know that sounds really scary, and it's not that scary, and it's very common. I've had many clients have entity attachments and not even know it, have no idea that they have an entity attached to them. And it's actually very easy to pass them on or detach them. I've done it plenty of times, and other practitioners and energy workers can do it too. So if you feel like you may have an attachment, if you're feeling kind of depressed, having physical symptoms or memories or weird thoughts in your head, if you get angry at no reason, if you're feeling bipolar or anything like that, or know somebody that is, you can either direct them to an energy healer that knows what they're doing, or you can contact me, or the easiest way is just to maintain that love vibration. Be positive. When you're positive and of high vibration, those entities can't attach to you. You're not vulnerable to them. You don't have little spaces that they can creep in and suck the energy from you. So you have to remain in love. You have to be positive. Don't let fear take advantage of you. Don't let anger take advantage of you. Live from your heart. So I hope this cleared up some of the mystery surrounding the death process. It's not scary at all. Fear is just a byproduct of not knowing what's out there and not knowing the answer. And I hope some of this information helped you. I would say the worst part about dying is leaving behind your loved ones. But if they only really knew that you didn't go anywhere and you were still right there, it would probably be a little bit easier when someone passes. After you return to heaven and check in and have your life review, you can become a spirit guide for someone that you left behind. Which means that if you've had a loved one that passed, then they are most likely guiding you as your spirit guide. And they are right there next to you. All you have to do is call their name and they'll be right there with you. If you found this video helpful and you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. If you are interested in a Beyond Quantum Healing session, which I can do over the phone or online, just email me. I will post my address below. And if you want to watch more of my family, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button as I break down the veil and help us ascend. Thank you for being you. Don't forget that you are loved and you have a grand purpose here on earth. With love and light, until next time.